And welcome to Down the Alley. This is PMAC.
And Ted T.S. Spirides.
And Katie.
We've got barbecue to talk about. I guess we've got some October themed drinks to talk about. But before we do, Ted, who are we riding with?
Are you looking to feed your business this holiday? Old Southern Barbecue is offering a boneless smoked turkey this season that's perfect for office events. It is served with mashed potatoes, gravy, fire-roasted cream corn, toasted almond and cranberry slaw, and muffin tops. If you're interested, email Amy at catering@oldsouthernbarbecue.com and tell them that DTA sent you.
Thank you to Old Southern Barbecue for riding with us again this year. Big barbecue competition. However, before we dive into that, because I'm sure people are waiting to hear about that, maybe not, I don't know. Ted, you brought up this kind of interesting conversation right before we hit record. What do you got? What's on your mind today?
So it's Oktoberfest time frame, and many companies, many breweries make Oktoberfest beer. And so I go to the ones in Byerly's, Buyer House, no free ads. And they have a little section that's build your own 6-pack. So I'm like, I wonder if I go now, if they'll have all the different kinds of Oktoberfest. Sure enough, they had like 10 different kinds in there. So I built my own 6-pack, 6 different kinds, some Minnesota, some Midwest. Didn't venture anywhere past Ohio as far as where the beer came from. So
you try to keep it local,
keep it somewhat local. And we've tried all the different ones, and some are better than others. And I was like, maybe I should rank Oktoberfests.
So the classic joke here would be, well, of course, the 6th one you try is going to be better than the first one you try, or did you do little samples?
Well, no, the first 2 we tried.
Or you do one per day.
We did side by side we opened the first 2, did side by side. And then yesterday we had one, and today we had one.
Okay. So you're spacing it out.
And it's not like the most recent one is always the best. Like the one we had today, it was like, this is significantly better than the last 3.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know if we can do a beer ranking on a blog or podcast that talks about high school sports. So I might have to do this on my personal account. But yeah, there's like a bunch of different kinds, and it's like a whole new rabbit hole to go down.
What makes it Oktoberfest?
The month you drink it.
Oh,
it's a
like speciality. They're just like, this is it.
The people who are beer snobs listening to this
they hate us. They hate us.
Their minds. I have no idea. I think it's just the time of year that it's brewed and like the ingredients that are available at that time to give it a certain style and flavor profile. Yeah.
But here's the other question. An Oktoberfest festival, people get really into the the Lederhosen at this time of year, and I've never been to one. I've never thought about going to one. People love the Oktoberfest festival. We thought about going to. I've never even thought about going to one.
We thought about going to the one in Dundas. It's in September. And
would you wear Lederhosen?
Wouldn't wear Lederhosen.
What would you wear? Is it like platter day, like a plaid?
Shorts. But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like we need to bring somebody. If you're a listener of this podcast and you are an Oktoberfest expert, we'd love to have.
I would love to know more.
I would just love like a message or an email or something giving me the breakdown. I could chat GPT it, but I think I want.
And which is the best Oktoberfest? Because a lot of restaurants just do it or whatever. But also, I'm not a really big fan of like German food. We had a discussion about German food recently, didn't we? The 3 of us.
I think we did.
We had a real live conversation about that we need German food. This was the other day at the park, wasn't it? Yep. That we need a better German food restaurant.
Yep.
So maybe someone will tell us no, you got to go here. You can't go to gas stops. We all agreed that closed. So you can't go there. So where do people get German food? I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm going to sit this one out because I don't really like German food. I know I don't like it, and I for sure don't like Oktoberfest beer. So it's a whole episode in and of itself.
Yeah, it really is. We have a great guest tonight. One We're waiting for him to join, but before he'll probably be popping in here any minute. But PMAC, how did your backyard barbecue competition go?
It was an absolutely incredible competition. Shout out to the Burnix. They're a Lacrosse family. They're local. I don't know if they want the shout out or not.
Burnick Homes Real Estate. If you need they're realtors. I said they write off the whole thing as marketing.
Hey, free one free ad for hosting a barbecue competition. You guys get that. Great job hosting. 9 cooks, 9 smokers, all all there doing their thing. There's adversity throughout the day. There's never a perfect cook. The weather was perfect. The vibes.
The 10th guy smoker died the night before or something.
Yeah, well, that's his fault. That's on him.
But that's crazy.
So there's always adversity. Having 9 smokers, they came prepared with this Ziegler cat power unit situation. So we thought we were prepared. We ran into some, early day power, how to work the machine situations. We had to work through some power things. But once we got that going, power was great all day. Vibes were great. The cook went mostly well. It went mostly well. I smoked 6 racks, had to turn in, about 3. I didn't turn in a full 3 racks, but that you cut from like 3 racks, try to give your best pieces in, yada, yada, yada. So, a good 2 to 3 of my racks, it didn't meet the standard. It didn't go well.
You can be honest of what happened.
Something went wrong. Maybe too much brown sugar.
They burnt to a crisp.
Wrapped too long. I don't know. Something went wrong. Why it went wrong in only 2 or 3 of my racks and my other 3 were great, I don't know. I might have to go to the big man. I might have to go to the big man and ask him these questions. Because he'll know more, I'm sure. So 2 to 3 of my racks didn't go well. I know we got a guest coming in right now. 3rd place.
Well, our guest just entered here to the show. We have Coach Bobby Benson from Providence College. Coach Bobby Benson, thank you for coming on and talking with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
For those that don't know, Coach Bobby Benson, head coach of Providence College. Prior to that, he was at Maryland for 2 years. And before that, Johns Hopkins for 14 years. Also spent time at Loyola and UMBC. And he's a 2003 graduate of Johns Hopkins, 3-time All-American, and led the Blue Jays in goals for 4 straight seasons. So this guy has been around the lacrosse community for a long time. Heck of a player, heck of a coach. We are excited to talk. And it's an honor to have you on the show.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. And you make me sound a lot more important than I am, that's for sure.
Yeah, we had to give you a little bit of an intro. I know you've come to Minnesota and done some camps in previous years. You've recruited some Minnesota kids. I think you got to coach a kid that I used to coach back in the day, Tyler Thurston. He was a Minnesota guy. I think he just recently graduated. And so a little bit of a connection to Minnesota, but I guess just to give our listeners a little background, how did you get involved in lacrosse and get your start?
I was involved in lacrosse from when I was in a crib. I think my uncle brought a stick and put it in the crib with me in the hospital. My dad and my uncle both played. They played at UMBC. So I was kind of born into it from a young age and played my entire life. So it's a sport I love, but I've been blessed to be able to play my whole life.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of the few people we've talked to that's actually said that. Like, I was born into it. Usually I got converted to lacrosse later on in life. So it's cool to talk to somebody that, especially in Minnesota here, we're all like, we all did something else before lacrosse arrived here. So, what, I guess, did you growing up, obviously played lacrosse, but did you have any other interests and like, what was your background athletically or anything, honestly?
I played everything growing up. I mean, up until 6th or 7th grade, I'd probably tell you I was going to play for the Orioles and be a professional baseball player. Then I realized I couldn't hit a curveball and barely hit the ball out of the infield. But yeah, I played everything: soccer, basketball, baseball. I stayed busy as a kid. I love basketball. I still love basketball, but played 3 sports in high school, which I wish more kids did nowadays. But I was always born to lacrosse as well, and lacrosse was something that was always near and dear to my heart.
Um, it seems like you got right into coaching as soon as you graduated college. Is that what you wanted to do, is coach lacrosse, or did you think you were going to do something else? Did you try other things? Like what was the path with being a college coach?
I always loved coaching. I always loved working camps when I was a kid. I did one internship with Morgan Stanley. Probably didn't give the business sector a long enough look and look into different options there, but quickly realized that I much prefer being in sports. Thought I might be a high school teacher coach for a while. When I graduated, Coach Zimmerman offered me an awesome opportunity at UMBC right out of school. I'm super grateful for him. One of the best in the world to learn from, Hall of Fame coach. So I was super fortunate to get that opportunity right out of school, and was able to kind of take that and use that to kind of make the most of it.
Yeah, so for somebody that wants to, I guess, go right into lacrosse coaching, especially in our where we are here, it's not something a lot of people get the opportunity to do, coach collegiately for lacrosse. What advice do you have, or just in general, to get into to the college level and eventually make your way up to the Division 1 level? I think there's a handful of people that aspire there, but even just any college level, like what advice would you have for someone that wants to do that?
I think like all professions, coaching is a lot about connections and relationships. You got to find ways to build those. I think I was fortunate being a fairly successful player at Johns Hopkins. There were a lot of Hopkins guys that were coaching. Coach Zimmerman was one of them. But I think you got to build those relationships and use your relationships to the best of your ability. I think that's how a lot of the hiring is happening in the college world. Probably in a lot of industries, that's how a lot of the hirings happen. So I think those relationships, finding ways to build them. Everyone's got different ways, whether it's working camps, whether it's tagging along with someone. But I think if you can do that, I think that helps. And then the other thing is you just got to be willing to grind. And sometimes you're, working for free or trying to get the next job, whatever it may be. I know even I was super fortunate to go right from Hopkins to Loyola to UMBC, or I'm sorry, right from Hopkins to UMBC to Loyola back to Hopkins. And, but then we were out of jobs and I moved to Atlanta, Georgia with my wife for her job and ended up back up in Maryland. And I tell everyone I was 41 years old living in my dad's basement. So, I think we all have those times where you just got to kind of grind it out a little bit too.
Takes
Were there anything that any of those in that time jobs you turned down that you were like, this just isn't a right fit? Like obviously at that time you were kind of probably starting to make a name for yourself, like with your connections. Was it always like eye on the prize, or were there anything that you were just like, yeah, no, I'm not moving to California or something like that?
I don't know if there were jobs I turned down, but I did not interview for many jobs.
Yeah.
Kind of always super happy where I was. I did interview for the Providence job twice, but it's one of those schools that I always had in mind as a place that could be great at lacrosse.
Oh,
And
sweet.
jobs
Sweet.
I always wanted. And my wife's an alum, so it's always been a spot near
Oh,
and dear to the hearts of our family. But I didn't look at that many. I was never really keen on just getting the next job as much as I loved where I was at all the places I was. But I was super fortunate to be at awesome spots with awesome people. So I think that and being able to kind of stay in my hometown in Baltimore was for a while was really nice. But all things work out for a reason, and I'm super blessed the way they did work out to be where I am now.
a little more
sweet.
specifically, like when you look at a staff, obviously you got your head coach, you got your coordinators, but for someone who's, looking to make that break in, maybe talk a little bit more about like a graduate assistant or a volunteer assistant. What do those look like at the college level? For someone who may not know.
Yeah, every school's different, every place is different, every program's different right now. The NCAA has recently changed all their rules, so now we have no more volunteer assistants in our program. We have 3 full-time paid assistants, which is very nice. Providence again has really stepped up and, taking care of us to the highest level, which is awesome. There are still places that use volunteers or part-time paid coaches. Graduate assistants happen as well. We have a graduate assistant. He is more on the operations side than the coaching side, but he can help us out at times in certain roles. Everyone kind of has a little different way that they go about doing it, but all those roles are great ways to get your foot in the door too. If you can become a graduate assistant, if you can get in as a volunteer or a part-time, and you can give a little more work than maybe for the money you're making at the top, it's a great way to make a name for yourself to get the ball rolling.
So I don't really know much about Providence or you. Like, what are you like as a coach? Like, in the thick of it, like, what would the boys say? Like, how you act kind of on the sidelines? Like, forget kind of like we're trying to recruit a guy or we're trying to, sell the school or whatever. What is it like in the nitty gritty of like a practice or a game? So kind of what's your style like under practice at Coach Bobby?
I would say that I'm very transformational. I do really value the players on the team, their input, their skill sets, their abilities. But I'm also probably very demanding. We like to figure out where we're going to go and how we're going to get there and write it down or whatever we need to do, right? And if we're going that way, it's great. But if we're not going that way, I ask a lot of why, why are we not doing this or why are we doing this? And, it can be anything from, we shot 0 for 7 yesterday. Why did we not come up and shoot more? Or why did we come up and shoot more? What did we work on when we were up shooting more? We shot 6 for 7. Why did we come back out and shoot more? What did we do to work on the shot we missed, whatever it may be, hey, we shot the last 2 in a row high. Why did we shoot that one high too? Or why did we shoot that low? I think we're always trying to just analyze kind of why we're doing things. I think we make so many decisions throughout the course of a hour, a day, a week, a month that are impactful to the team and our success. And we want to make sure that we're making all of those decisions, whether it's in the heat of a game, whether it's during a Tuesday practice or whether it's Sunday or off day at noon. Are we making the decisions that are going to help us best benefit the team and help us have the most success? And I think, we have a lot of those conversations, and I think that's where we're probably demanding. But I also really value the input of the guys, and I think, that goes a long way as well.
Find myself asking, why can't we scoop ground balls the most? So you're lucky you're not in that position anymore. I love those girls dearly, but man, I question it all the time too.
We have a lot of whys on the ground balls too.
You're right. Okay,
No
good.
matter what,
Okay,
that's
good. We're
probably
all the same.
that's probably the most important part of the game.
It is. And you're right. The why can't we scoop it?
Speaking on, some of these skills that, maybe we're looking for, we're not getting from our players. What when you're recruiting a player, looking at a player, what are some of the big things, that you're looking for, and specifically for your school, what makes a great fit, for a player at Providence? And a side question off of that, we were talking about recruits and multi-sport athletes. Do you ever go see a recruit play another sport that they might play?
I'll answer the second part first. Yes, we watch a lot of them play other sports when we can. If we can get to a soccer or football or hockey or basketball game, we will do that for sure. I enjoy that. I enjoy watching them play other sports. So
That's
yes,
cool.
I like when they do play other sports. So that part's definitely a yes. What makes a good player? I think at the end of the day, we can all say we're looking for this, that, the other. We're just looking for players that are good and good players, good people, good students, right? All those things good in the locker room. They all come together for sure. They've got to bring something to the table that's going to really help them differentiate themselves. Some people favor athleticism over skill, some skill over athleticism. Those are things that definitely can be different within staff to staff. I would probably look for guys that are a little more athletic on the defensive end and a little more skilled on the offensive end personally. I think the stick skills are super important. But when we watch guys play, I think it's no secret either the guys that are scoring 5 goals in a game and the guys that aren't. And, we want to make sure that they're the guys that are the elite level players. And I think that's probably the most important thing is there's a lot of good players out there. There's a ton of good players out there. How do you get to the point where you're competing, in our case, for Big East and national championships? And how do you find that elite level player? Is what we do our best to find.
One thing I heard, it might have been on your interview with Jamie Monroe a while back, that you talked a little bit about one of your Hopkins teams that you had some just elite athletes at midfield that can get downhill and shoot, but what separated them was their ability to distribute the ball and be, feeders from the midfield. Like, is that something that jumps out at you? Just having like a secondary skill set as a player, obviously being able to beat your man, go to the goal and score, or shut somebody down. But is that a good way to differentiate? Just have that kind of secondary skill set. It's like, oh, I don't see guys doing that as much.
I mean, yeah, I think the skills are super important. I think your ability to move the ball and play within team offense, especially the way we want to play, is really important. There's a lot of guys that can run down the alley and shoot the ball hard. That's less impressive to me as a guy that can catch it and throw one more without taking a cradle. But again, the guy that can catch it and throw one more without taking a cradle still needs to find ways to score goals. If the guy's running down the alley, scoring goals too. So I think that there's a lot of things that can go hand in hand. It's definitely not any sort of highly scientific process. We all do the best we can. I always use the NFL draft analogy, right? They're drafting people that are 22 years old. They are full-grown men. They have full staffs watching almost every game they've played in with mental and physical health evaluations, and they're drafting them to play 6 months later, and they have a hard time with it. We're trying to guess on 15, 16-year-old boys that really haven't gone through puberty yet, haven't really hit the distractions of high school and college. We watch them playing a couple halves of a club game that they may or may not play well when it's 100 degrees out on a turf field. We watch a highlight film that they put together to make themselves look good, and we talk to club coaches that they probably pay thousands of dollars to say nice things about them. And we're trying to guess how they're going to do in 5 years. It's definitely not an exact science, but we all just do the best we can and try to find guys that we think can help us compete at the highest level.
It's funny that you mention like all of those factors because we also run a club here in Minnesota and pretty regional. We've gone out east a couple times, but like you said, the highlight reel making themselves look good. The coaches, you may see them, who knows, how much you'll see them at a tournament or, showcase or whatever. And so I have a question of just like, in your opinion, in your status of, you basically can kind of get the best of the best. Kids are obviously wanting to come play for you at a really great school, a really great program. What, in your opinion, should they be looking for to gain out of club lacrosse? Because like you said, it's thousands of dollars. You kind of can go on any street corner and find what you're looking for now. So from your perspective, what do you think is the most important thing they should gain out of a club experience?
I think all clubs are different, and I think everyone going to club is looking for something different. So on one hand, there's some people that are looking to join club lacrosse or club teams in any sport to build friendships, learn how to compete, develop a skill set, learn what it is to be part of a team and how to, work with others, which are all great skills to learn. And there's others that are joining a club team because they want to be the next first team All-American playing in college. And I think that there's club teams for both. So I don't know if there's a right or wrong. I think finding a club that matches your vision is very important. I think you don't want to join a club team that's, about everybody just kind of being part of a team and, being happy and, going to pizza parties if you're trying to be the next first team All-American. But at the same time, if you're not trying to be a highly competitive player, you don't want to go join a highly competitive club. So I think that those things can definitely vary. The one thing that I don't think is, people shouldn't join club teams just so that they can go to college. I think that when you use college as the end goal, you miss out on a lot because in our world, that's when the work starts. Like you commit to college, that's when it starts. In the club world, sometimes you commit to college, that's when the party is like it's over. And it's not really when it's over, it's when it starts. So I think that the club should be able to help you become the best player, if you want it to be the best player you can, and put yourself in the best position to be a successful college lacrosse player. And sending somebody to Providence that shouldn't be at Providence, or sending somebody to Duke that shouldn't be at Duke, or sending somebody to Hampton Sydney that shouldn't be it's not about what school you go to as much as going to a place that you're going to be successful and you're going to be a great person, a great student, and a great player. And helping you kind of maximize your athletic and academic, but for the club side, the athletic ability is super important to me.
That's
That was a
awesome.
fantastic answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Well, I know
Like
our
louder in the back.
listeners. Yeah,
That
a
and
little.
like use both hands, you know?
No easy way to transition out of that because that, yeah, like I said, great answer. At the college level right now, what are some of the trends, that are changing or that are going in a specific direction? Maybe something that you're working on in fall ball right now. What's the trends in the college game that you're starting to see?
Oh, right now I don't know how much the trends really are out there. I'd say 7 or 8 years ago, the whole box field hybrid trend thing became popular. And people would say we were a big part of that. I don't know if we were or not. We just try to find ways to score goals. So I try not to get into too many cool terms or names or in some areas, some teams, the 10-man ride up and down the field, things popular. I would say that does not seem to be popular to me, at least at the highest level when you're looking at the Big Tens, the ACCs. Some of them do it here or there. A lot of them do it here or there. But I think that maybe in other levels, you see people doing it like 80% of the time. Whereas in those areas, if they're doing it 30%, it's a lot. But that's something that in some parts of colleges have become popular. Um, they're probably some of the things. We try to just focus on our guys and becoming the best we can be. We definitely play a unique style of offense. I don't know if anybody plays something quite like it, but we do the best we can to try to massage it around and move the needle the best we can to be able to score some goals. And then same thing defensively, right? We're kind of a new staff still. We got a bunch of guys out there, and who can cover, who can play up top. We've been moving people from up top to down low to up top, shorts to poles, poles to shorts for the last 2 years, and just trying to figure out how we can maximize our efficiency on both ends, which maybe the last thing that's kind of a trending thing is the, kind of stats driven efficiencies models. Maybe they picked up some steam 5 years ago or so as well.
Are you talking like analytics?
Yeah, like per possessions and your offensive efficiency, your defensive efficiency, all those types of things. You know, uh, Kind of adjusting it for your strength of schedule or who you're going against. A lot of those different analytics have become popular in some ways, I guess.
If you were, a high school coach, probably don't need to dive in as many as you would, but is there a couple that you would really hone in on, that could make a difference?
I think you can figure out a little bit just how you're doing if you look at the possessions you have and, how many times you have the ball, how many times are you scoring, how many times are you missing shots, and how many times are you turning it over? If, over a third of your possessions are ending in turnovers, it's probably a red flag that you're turning it over too much. Uh, if you're not scoring in a third of your possessions, you need to score more. If you're shooting over, if goalie save percentage is under 50%, you're probably doing pretty well. If your shooting percentage is over 33% or in the over 1 in 3 range, you're probably doing well. I think some of those are simple ones, and then you can just reverse it for defense, right? If you can keep teams where they're not shooting well, or you end up with a high turnover rate, or the goals are down in the 25% per possession ratio, I think you're doing well. Um, I like to split that up and take the riding and clearing out of it. So kind of either start when you get it in the box or when the shot clock hits 60, something like that, and then have a little separate part for the riding and clearing so it doesn't offset the half field offense and defense. And obviously there too, right? If you're clearing better than the other opponent that's doing well, you can use that. I don't know what in the high school level is good. We like to be in the 85-90% range when we can
Yeah.
clear the ball, and we like to keep the other team in the 80-85% range without going too crazy for it. So I think those are some good metrics.
I think I'd love PL to be at 90, but I set the bar at 80 last year, and I think we're right around there. But
Yeah, so you talked a little bit about, you try to do some different things, and I'll use innovation loosely around, innovating your offense or your defense and trying to be, kind of set your team up to be different a little bit. But something I struggle with as an offensive coordinator is not swinging that pendulum too far where I'm trying too much and then I lose buy-in from everybody being like you're going too off the rails, like just dodge down the alley, that works, like swing the ball through X. How do you balance maybe bringing new stuff to the table, wrinkles, trying to be different with, like you said, you're just trying to score goals. There's things that have worked for centuries, and balancing those two things.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely play a little unique style probably of offense. And we kind of let the guys do what they want a lot of ways. So I think we try to massage the individuals more, go do what you do well. We try to fill some spots. Um, we try to encourage them to kind of get the spots that they're comfortable in at times, especially when they're dodging. And then we just keep kind of massaging it and moving it around. So some years we might be dodging the alley, some years it could be wing picks, some years it could be behind the goal. I don't know if there's a right or wrong, but we just keep trying to mention ideas and see what sticks, and different things stick with different teams, and you just try to figure it out along the way. But I try not to give them too many rules, especially early, and then try to massage it to go certain ways. So I'm not trying to fit necessarily a square peg in a round hole or whatever that saying is.
Do you still, and now that you're a head coach, do you still get to be involved a lot in that X's and O's and kind of the offensive or defensive, like the building of the philosophies and schemes, or do you have to delegate that now more that you're a head coach?
I love coaching offense, so I still coach the offense. It's what I love doing. Coach Broderson, Casey Broderson does the defense. Carol Kennedy does the routing and clearing. Sean Lewis there to help me with the offense for sure. So we've got a great staff. We've got guys that I trust. I would say I try to make sure that I know what's going on in all the areas, and but those guys do an awesome job as well. So there's not a lot that they need help with. I do enjoy coaching though, so I try to make sure that I got my hands, especially in the offensive side. Just that's my background, and I know that those guys do an awesome job in their areas too.
Because we have you, we struggle as a state with riding and clearing. How, like, basically your dumbed down version of like, how do we elevate a ride and a clear?
If I was really trying to bring up especially a clearing side, I would just do a ton of like 5-on-4s, 4-on-3s, like clearing drills, stick work drills, keep away drills. I mean, we do a handful of different ones that I think most people do where you have a 4-on-3 in like each little segment of the field, and you got to run the ball across the line. So you got a 4-on-3 in your defensive half, then the middle defensive third, and the offensive defensive third all the way down. Um, and you got to have spacing and clear the ball out. We do a couple different full field 5-on-4 drills where you can only ride to the midline and the next group comes, or you put 5 guys 5-on-4 on each end, but you got to pass it across the midline so you can come up in 10-man, or you got to find ways to look deep. Um, we'll do a 7v6 keep away, 7 defenders, 6 offensive guys in like the middle third of the field. So defensively, if they get it, they have an extra guy, they got to spread out, they got to change the fields, they got to keep the riders moving. If the offense gets it, they have 6, the other guys have 7, so they can look to get like a double team, like it's the end of a game, or you have an advantage or something. You can try to get a double team. I think drills like that, I think stick work drills, I think, just playing 5-on-4 offense versus defense, and then switching it up and letting the defense play offense and the offense play defense. I think things like that go a long way, more than trying to diagram the next schematic thing. But that's also what we do a lot offensively. We try to practice a lot of scenarios and give the guys a lot of freedom. And, and defensively, I try not to script what we're going to do too often. I try not to predetermine we're going to slide to this guy, but not that guy. We want to let our guys make a lot of those decisions. And so we try to practice making a lot of those decisions.
I'm going to jot that down. P-Mac, you jot that down for me?
I'll jot it down. Kind of bringing it to game day. What do the top teams, at the top levels that you've been around, how do they prepare for game day physically and mentally? Any cool rituals or routines, from any of the teams that you've been kind of a part of?
Oh, I don't know if there's any cool rituals. I mean, everyone's got a little something different. Every guy's got something different. Some of them are taping their sticks, doing this, that, or the other. I stay out of everyone's way during game day the best I can because who knows what they're doing. I usually try to do a couple things on Friday that can lighten up practice or something. But we do a pregame meal. I've done them Saturday mornings, Friday nights, those things for pregame meals. But for the most part, I think each guy's on their own there and each program's on their own. I don't know if there's anything like cool per se. We just do whatever we need to do to try to be prepared to play our best.
We're all dying to know what the favorite meal is. We're big foodies. So what gets the guys just really excited about their pregame meal?
I'm pretty sure that most colleges across the country are eating tons of chicken parm during the season. I'm pretty sure that
Homemade. Do you guys have like a go-to, like someone
I think a
makes
bunch of
it? Do you
places.
make it?
I think
Olive
a bunch of
Garden? I don't
places
know.
have their own. We got a guy Molanzi here that in Providence that delivers like 4 trays of chicken parm and who knows what else before games. I know Sammy Carreri down at Sammy's Trattoria in Baltimore feeds like every college team to come through there. So there's definitely some go-tos, that's for sure.
That sounds so good right
I'll
now.
travel across the
Italian
country
food.
for a good chicken parm.
You can't get
Yeah.
better Italian food than Providence, that's for sure.
Okay, good to know. Will you go there outside of chicken parm delivery day?
Oh yeah, we got a nice little area of Federal Hill, Atwell's Ave Street right there. I mean, you go right down the strip. It's Andino's, Casarino's, Constantino's, Pane Alvino, El Massimo. I'm forgetting.
What's your go-to meal? Like, do you always get the same Italian meal, or are you kind of like a switch it up?
I mix it up. I mix it up.
Yeah.
Hey, we gotta find a tournament in Providence to go to.
All these places.
There's sometimes some in Newport, which you're 30 minutes from Providence with the Italian food, but you're also next to the beach and great seafood. So
Newport.
they have some in Newport.
Sold.
Yeah, I mean, moving on from food, college sports are going through like a lot. You kind of touched on it, with NIL, with transfer portal, recruiting numbers, all that. What ways has lacrosse? What ways has that impacted you? With your lacrosse program?
Well, I've tried to just keep my focus on what we're doing right now at Providence and not worry too much about it. Obviously there's a lot going on with NIL. There's a lot going on with the roster, scholarship, who knows what's going to come down the road. As of right now, there's really nothing that's happened. So we're, trying to figure it out as everybody else is, seeing what actually does officially get passed and go through. A lot of things look like they're likely, but, so much of that's tied up in different court cases too. So, it's for smarter minds than myself, definitely, in our administration, and I just lean on them. And, we're still kind of full speed ahead doing what we're doing the same way we've been doing it 5 years ago. We have some opportunities for our guys with NIL. They've got some things coming up with even like open doors and stuff like that where they can market themselves. But outside of that, we're still kind of just going on status quo, but obviously that could change any minute now. And, I can only control what I can control, and, we just do the best we can.
We get 2 more questions. This question's from We call it DTA Nation, Down the Alley Nation. One of the fans. If you had 15 minutes to run one drill that you think provides the most benefit to lacrosse IQ, what drill would that be?
Oh, if you ask me every year, you probably change like your favorite drill. So that's gonna not help that much. Right now, I'd probably go, we do a little back and forth. We pull the goals up to the restraining lines and we go 2-on-1, 3-on-2, 4-on-3, 5-on-4, and then we just keep going back and forth. Two guys release, so you start one defenseman out, two guys release a 2-on-1, save, whatever, goal, out with the next ball. So now it's a 3-on-2 coming down, and we just go back and forth. And you get all the unsettled spacing, rotating defensively, stick work. But it would be some sort of small-sided stick work drill, probably.
Love it. I feel like those types of drills the players love the best too. Last question we always kind of end with, unless Ted, you've got anything else.
I will say before PMAC asks the last question, I love the logo on your sweatshirt.
Yeah, you like that, right? That's nice. Our
Yeah.
athletes like to hook this up with the lacrosse specific logo. So we got
That's
the
cool.
firefighting lacrosse. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a big hit for the recruits too, hopefully.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So yeah, last question we ask every guest is, what is your alley? This can be something you're passionate about today, this week, this month. It can be a bigger thing that, more of like a lifelong thing. It can be lacrosse related, not related, as serious as you want it to be. So yeah, you can kind of take it any direction you want. What is your alley?
I think my alley is just watching, young men, whether it's the guys I coach or my own kids or, even those I work with or my wife who's in the room next to me, grow, develop, and succeed at whatever they want to do. Right. I think that's one of the reasons why we all get into coaching. We just love watching people kind of do their best and, watching them grow into doing their best. And I think whenever I can watch somebody develop and grow into doing their best, that's, something that I think is really awesome.
Awesome. Well, Coach, thank you for coming on our podcast. We appreciate your time. Hopefully you can get some sleep before you have to hit the field tomorrow. But we really appreciate it. And again, hopefully this, get some people interested in looking at your program and we appreciate your insight and time to come on our show.
Thank you all for having me. I greatly appreciate it. And best of luck to all of you.
Thank you. And thank you to Coach Bobby Benson for coming down the alley with us. Real good interview. Not every day you get to talk to a Division I coach.
Like a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, we have to maybe check our sources here, but is he the first Division I coach we've had on ever?
Well, Coach Colin.
Oh,
and you're right. Yep. So I knew I'm like, there's gotta have been an episode. I don't know, what is that, 5 years ago now? So
yeah, no, it's been a while. It's been like I said, like not every day you get to talk to him, and so
and it was, I'm sure like some of the like questions we asked like maybe sounded elementary to him a little bit, but like it was refreshing to hear that, hey, we preach stick work, we preach decision making, like, hey, like I don't care how you do it, put the ball in the back of the net, stop the other team from scoring. Like it doesn't need to be overly complicated.
Yeah.
Do it efficiently and do it at a high level and do it consistently, to be successful. And same thing for recruits too. How can I get recruited to play Division I? Be good. Be a good player and a good student and a good person. Like, be the best player on your team. Oh, well, how do I do that? Practice a lot. Care. Like it's not the stuff that you want to hear all the time, because, it brings me back to that famous quote from that player I don't know, that kid I was talking to like years ago, and he was like, how do I get better shooting with my offhand? And I was like, get a bucket of 100 balls and shoot with your offhand. And he's like, well, other than that, how can I get better? It's like, if I could sell you a magic pill, I would not be selling you lacrosse training.
And he's still dealing with ground ball issues. So Katie,
hey,
the ground ball issues.
Solidarity that, what, my issues are their issues. But I also think it's refreshing that like, even at the highest level of lacrosse, I'm appreciative of his philosophies that like you get to the highest level for lacrosse to do lacrosse, and it's not all about lacrosse. Like he just still wants like good guys, good people, go to school, and that piece of it you never really lose that piece. And I think that's really important for kids, especially in college. That's like there's always going to be multiple facets of your life, and like one's going to be a really, really big part of it. And you're going to have to figure out how to do those other things. And I think that's really cool that he's kind of preaching that and like supporting that a little bit. It's like, because then you're going to leave college and you're going to get a job, but like you're going to have other things in your life too. And, if one of those things is bigger or smaller than the other, that's okay. And I love that he goes to recruits other sports. I think that's super cool too. Because I know that's something I love about our players that play multiple sports, is watching them do other activities, do their other things too.
I think the number one thing I took away, or the number one reminder for players that he said was, when you commit, the work doesn't stop. It actually, that is day zero. That's day zero of the work. So I think that's a good reminder for the people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no doubt. And like, I didn't want to like overly, I don't want to say embarrass him, but he's one of, if not the most brilliant offensive minds in lacrosse, like I'll say just like the world. So like he's super high level. So if you're somebody who's like, hey, I want to get better at offense, like go watch those old Hopkins teams, go watch the 2022 Terps play and see what they're doing off ball. I mean, the 2022 Maryland Terrapins, undefeated national champs, just destroying everybody, 15 goals a game, 18 goals a game. And so like I think he undersold himself a little bit on like how much of an offensive genius he is. But one recommendation, I guess he's really good friends with the Georgetown coach, Kevin Warren, who's sort of more of a defensive guy. And if you go to the IMLCA like video library, I think you have to pay for like the premium videos, but there is a 2-man game picks video where it's him talking offense and Coach Warren talking defense. And they're like two buddies, like trying to like not outduel each other, but it's a really interesting video. I got a lot from it. So definitely go check that out if you're looking for lacrosse education.
Right on. Well, I appreciate him coming, down the alley with us. Definitely check out his other stuff and anything he's doing. And he's been recruiting, a decent, not a ton, right? But there's Providence does pick up Minnesota players.
Yep. I think it's a strong academic school. I think it's a place that Minnesota players can be successful at on the like lacrosse side of things. And you're right, PMAC. There have been traditionally a couple kids a year that have gone there from Minnesota and had successful careers, though. We talked a little bit at the beginning about Tyler, who went there, played 4 years there. A couple kids that are going to be going there or are there now. So definitely, if you're one of those types of players that good enough to, crack the Division I prospect pool, it's definitely a school to check out.
Right on. Well, we will be back next episode. I don't know which order this will air, but we've got a couple more things lined up, and we continue to add to the portal here. So hey, stay tuned. Or hope you're enjoying them. We're trying to give you some different looks, players, coaches, high school, college, and we're gonna keep them coming. So
another huge shout out to Coach Bobby.
Yep. That's all I got.
All right. Talk to you later.
Adios.
Are you looking to feed your business this holiday? Old Southern Barbecue is offering a boneless smoked turkey this season that's perfect for office events. It is served with mashed potatoes, gravy, fire-roasted cream corn, toasted almond and cranberry slaw, and muffin tops. If you're interested, email Amy at catering@oldsouthernbarbecue.com and tell them that DTA sent you.